Happy Sunday, February 25th. Welcome to Wasatch Weekends. I'm your host, Kimberly Perot. On today's show, I talked to Bill Humbert about how you should delete recruiting from human resources. What does that mean, you might ask? Well, Bill has all the information for us. Plus, I love getting into the kitchen, and we made a delicious tzatziki dip, which is sure to be a crowd pleaser. But before we jump into all of that and more, let's take a look at the weather. Now, Bill Humbert is quite the talent acquisition expert, and he certainly does give lots of advice to companies. One of his biggest pieces of advice is to remove the recruiting process from human resources operations. I had a conversation all about that with Bill, so let's take a look at what he has to say. Now, welcome back. I've had quite an interesting discussion with the recruiter guy, Bill Humbert, who is also the award winner of Corporate Vision Magazine's 2023 Business to Pay Attention To. Joining me back to talk about from the business side of things is all about how to, where does talent acquisition fit within human resources and a company's vision and structure and growth strategy. So Bill, thanks for joining.
Kimberly, thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is one of my favorite topics.
I love it. So human resources and recruiting, in theory, they should be the same, and they are continually put into the same department, but really their functionalities are very different. So tell me a bit about, why do you suggest, as you like to say, deleting recruiting from human resources?
That is my 5-minute disrupt HR speech, delete recruiting from HR. And, what I don't want to do is get the professionals in HR upset, because their functions are very, very important in a company structure. Consider benefits, compensation, culture, employee development, employee onboarding, employee retention, and HR technology. They're all important functions within a company. The only problem is they are either administrative or compliance functions. Mm-hmm. Recruiting mirrors the sales process perfectly, line by line, step by step. When was the first time you ever saw a compliance officer lead a company in sales?
That is exactly right. You don't see it.
You don't, never.
Absolutely.
And so companies are complaining, we can't find the right people, and we can't. And so HR's response too often is, well, we'll find another place to post the positions. Mm-hmm. That's not sales. That's marketing, maybe, but it's not sales. And so it's important to, I feel, to delete recruiting from HR and then put it into reorganize it into operations. Operations is where they're feeling the pain. Mm-hmm. HR is not feeling the pain. And so HR does not have one sales manager on its staff because they don't trust sales. And so over in operations, they've got a sales manager who knows how to solve sales problems.
It's true. And just like you mentioned, there is a reason third-party recruiting agencies exist, and they have a sales model because that's what they do. They go out, they attract the talent, they chase the business down. So talk to me about operations. You mentioned that you believe recruiting should be under operations, and what would that look like according to you, in your opinion?
Well, Typically, so, it just depends on the company and its size, right? If it's a small company, then that person would sit around the managers they're supporting. So I don't care if it's a cube, an office. They need a conference room nearby so that they can have their quiet conversations with candidates when they're trying to sell them on the position, and especially when they're talking about compensation. However, I've worked out of cubes, and it's been fine. I just shoot over to the office or the conference room when I need it. The advantage to doing that is the managers get used to seeing them supporting their business, and they're much more comfortable with that recruiter because they're there every day in front of them, and that makes it easier for the recruiter when a manager is slacking off and not responding back on resumes. And I do this all the time. Yeah, I'm an East Coast kid. I'm from Maryland. I'm not afraid of getting in front of somebody and saying, "So, what's going on?" and and what I've seen sometimes is when I get in front of them, I'm thinking of one right now at Rockwell Collins Avionics. He told me, well, the reason I haven't responded is because I don't want to fill this position right now, but it takes too much time and too much work to open a position. And yet he keeps saying to HR that, and reporting to his executives, that HR is not getting the job done. And so with that person, I said, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to HR, and I'm going to suggest they close the position until you're ready to recruit for it.
And that's how it should be done. HR has so many other components, from benefits and, retention and succession planning, all of those things, whereas recruiting it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So have you seen this process implemented in a successful manner?
The first time I did it, I was on a recruiting contract with MCI Telecommunications, the company that brought us Friends and Family and 1-800-COLLECT. And they were so light on their feet for a large corporation. And they brought me in for a huge project. They had a 200-member IT organization that was called New Commercial Billing Development Corporation, or corporation, IT organization, and they were transitioning from talent-rich Pentagon City, Virginia, to talent-poor Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Now, don't get me wrong, I lived in Cedar Rapids for 15 years. It's a great town, but there were only 3 IBM mainframe shops. That's not a good pool to choose from. And not only that, the largest by 2 times was MCI.
Wow.
And so I developed the recruiting strategy, and I worked with the managers directly, and HR did their job. Their job was to get the offer letters out right away when we were extending offers, and then they would be involved in the onboarding. And then one more area they were involved in was when I needed to open new positions, I'd just tell them which positions I wanted to open. I always had 80 openings at any given time, because if I found the right candidate for any of them, I'd plug them into that one. So, so the managers and I worked directly together. They loved it. We traveled together. We went to 43 cities from January 1st, 1993 to December 31st, 1993. We had to hire a minimum of 120 IT professionals in those 12 months. Every last 2 weeks of every month, we would go to 2 to 3 cities, interview anywhere from 16 to 24 candidates per day. Every night over dinner, we would make hiring decisions and offer amount decisions. And then I would go and send a note to HR requesting a permission to extend those offers. And they even after we got going and they started seeing the volume that was coming in at night, they set up one of their HR managers to work hours that mirrored my hours, so they could at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night respond back, extend the offer, extend the offer, extend the offer. So we did that at the end of December 31st of 93. We counted noses and seats, and we had 143 IT professionals in seats. Only 10 of them relocated from Virginia.
Wow. Wow. Well, congratulations. That's a lot of hiring very quickly. It sounds like you definitely implemented the sales approach, which is you go after it and you, I hate to say this, use this phrase, eat what you kill. Sounds like you really did that. So talk to me a little bit about how many companies have benefited from your advice and your sales implementation tactics?
Well, every company that I go, so my focus has been to work with one company at a time and charge a flat monthly fee for my service. And, it's a good fee, and it's a consulting fee. And so I demonstrate that it works by implementing it for that company. My best client is a company that was based in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and that was Mainstream Management. And I've worked with them 11 different times. The last position I helped them fill, excuse me, was a woman COO for a restaurant chain that they had. But other companies that Trex Company, the deck company, worked with them a couple of times. I worked with Acciona Energy. They're in the renewable energy business, and I help them find people both for solar farms and for wind farms. I've worked with another company 4 times, Transamerica. You probably heard of them. And I helped them fill audit positions, and then they had me help them fill some project management positions. So a lot of the companies that I work with bring me back, and that's a good sign about my skills in implementing sales as a recruiting process.
Well, you've certainly you've won awards to prove it, and you've got lots of books out there as well to share your knowledge. Now, Bill, where can we go to get more information, to order the books, to follow you, to hire you as a consultant?
That's easy. I'm RecruiterGuy.com, and above the fold, you'll see my contact information. It's a red banner, and it says "Speak with Bill." And you just click on that and pick a day and a time, and if it works you, and I will have a nice half-hour conversation with you. Also on that page is a banner, rotating banner, and my New York Times interviews, my interviews with the province in Canada, all my Deerfield Media interviews, both on Talent Attraction and Career Search, are on there. So it's a banner, and you can just click on any of those and see what I'm doing. And it's a pretty thorough website in terms of recruiting. So yeah, I love doing what I do. I've done it since 1981, and I'll continue doing it as long as I keep having fun.
Well, the recruiter guy, Bill Humbert, you are a wealth of knowledge. We appreciate all of the advice that you share with our viewers on a regular basis. Bill, thanks so much. And again, congratulations on that award.
Thanks, Kimberly. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, we will have a bit more here on the show, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Have fun.
I certainly do love a good dip, especially that of Mediterranean origin. Kevin and I got in the kitchen and made a homemade tzatziki dip. Let's take a look at that recipe. Welcome back. Now, we are in the kitchen, and I love being in the kitchen with Kevin. We always have so much fun.
It is so much fun.
On and off camera.
Yeah.
Well, we're making today tzatziki dip, which is quite delicious. It's a staple in my in my fridge.
Yeah.
And I love putting it like as a dip with vegetables or pita or any sort of meat is always
very
delicious.
healthy, too.
It is. It really
Yeah.
is. You know, it's a great great condiment to have on hand. So very easy recipe to make. Have you ever made it before?
I've never made it. This is first time.
Okay, so
I'm excited.
The trick is there is a little bit of a trickiness with the cucumber. So the base is a Greek yogurt,
Okay.
cucumber, lemon juice, olive oil, and garlic, and a little bit of dill. And
I love all those.
All of those things,
Yeah.
right? Who doesn't
my
like
favorite.
a flavor like that? So we're going to go ahead and get started. So Kevin, I'm going to put you on cucumber duty.
Okay.
What we're basically going to do is we're going to either dice it or grate it. It's up to
Okay.
you, however you want to do it.
Gotcha.
I would recommend taking some of the skin off of the cucumber.
I'll do that.
So you can do about a half or 3/4 of
Okay.
a cucumber if you'd like. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started with the Greek yogurt. So we've got about, you want to do about a cup of Greek yogurt, but really it's to taste. You know, the beauty of making a sauce is just being able to taste it as you like, as your flavors are, kind of melding together.
Right.
So are you a big fan of Mediterranean food?
It's my favorite. Actually, my favorite food is Mediterranean food. I love the healthiness. I love all the herbs and it's just an explosion of flavor.
It really is, and the best part about this dip is that it's so versatile. You can use it for anything. So I know a lot of people, you often order it, and you want about a cup here. So it doesn't really matter how much of a cup you're doing. We'll just taste it as we see fit. But yeah, so Kevin, what you're doing now is the cucumber. What is really interesting about a cucumber is that it actually holds a lot of water and moisture. So you're de-seeding it and taking out some of that moisture because we're going to be cutting it up and dicing it into our Greek yogurt base. You really
So
don't.
what would you prefer, the dicing or grating?
I do it both ways. I dice it because I like to have a little bit of chunk in my sauce. But if
Okay.
you wanted it to be a little bit more of a finely melded together sauce, I would suggest taking just your normal cheese grater and you can just grate it all up just like you usually do.
Maybe you do a combination.
You could do a
Little
combination
chunk,
if you
little
want to.
grate.
A little bit of everything.
Okay.
Texture is always good in all different ways. So we've got about a cup of Greek yogurt here. You can do any sort of Greek yogurt that you want. Whole milk Greek yogurt is usually best, but it really doesn't matter. And
Are you a yogurt expert?
I depends on
Yogurt.
the day. I think today maybe I am. But then we're going to go ahead and actually add some lemon juice to it. Now you can do about a tablespoon, and we're going to. I love to use this fancy juicer. Do you have one?
That
of
is,
those in your
I
kitchen?
do.
It is
I do
the
have
best. Game changer. I'll
See,
tell you what.
you've got the green, and then you've got the yellow there, so you can do lemons or limes.
Lemons or limes, but
Very
nothing
versatile
else.
piece of
We
equipment.
cannot do any other
No.
type of fruit. But we're going to go ahead and squeeze this lemon juice into a bowl. You can squeeze it directly into the Greek yogurt base if you want to, but we need about a tablespoon. So I like to squeeze it in here just to kind of eye it a
Nice
little bit.
job.
better.
Good squeezing.
Right? Great squeezing. It took me a long time to figure out how to use this.
It's an art.
I used to
It's
do
an
it
art.
backwards, but now I put it, the inside part down.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed
Well,
to
I
go.
used to do it the other way.
Oh.
It took me a long time to learn that.
You're a trendsetter.
I'm a
Nobody followed that one, though. Just you.
It's okay.
We've got many Kimisms happening today.
When Kevin and I are in the kitchen together,
Yeah.
it just brings that side out of me. But I love what you're doing here. So you did a little bit of dicing.
Little dice.
And now you're doing a little
Little
bit
grate.
of shredding. Yep.
Yeah.
It's great. So we're going to take our measurement. You need about a tablespoon of lemon juice into this. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in here. And we're leaking a little bit, so it doesn't really matter there. So we've got about a tablespoon there. And then here's the trick. Most people don't realize this, but you put a little bit of olive oil in it too. It just kind of helps smooth it all out.
Yeah.
So we're going to open our olive oil.
In Mediterranean cooking, olive oil is one of the things you've got to put in.
You have to.
It just makes the flavors spread,
It
especially
really
if you've got
does.
an herb such as dill.
Right. So we've done a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of lemon juice.
Okay.
Cucumber's looking great.
Is it ready to go? Kind of put the cucumber in?
I mean, you can throw it in. Go right ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then you got that in there. Awesome. Now the next piece, and this is another fun trick, and I'm going to let you handle this one.
Great.
We've got a garlic press here. So
Okay.
you want to take about a clove of garlic. I brought 2 just in case we want to do a little bit extra.
Okay.
But we'll do about a clove of garlic, and you can just stick it in here and press it through. It's quite delicious. And then This is fun. You can do an optional mint. I like to wait and see how it tastes before I throw the mint in
Yeah,
there.
I'm with you on the mint. Yeah.
You know, it depends. Like sometimes mint is really good, and especially if you were making this dip to go with like a lamb dish, then I think the mint would be really delicious.
Right.
But you know, if you just want it as a dip, we love to kind of keep that out. So it's really optional depending on what you feel like. So I'm going to go ahead and add some dill, and dill is key to this dish. You can make it without the dill, but it's really not going to be the same. So I'm going to do about a half a teaspoon of dill. We're just gonna sprinkle that in here. And we're just sprinkling it in.
Yeah, be careful, it's coming out fast.
You know what, we're just gonna, forget the spoon, I'm dumping it in.
Yeah, just give it a shake.
Just giving it
Because we
little,
love dill.
We love the dill. And these are just classic staple Mediterranean flavors right here.
That looks good.
It looks great, right?
All right, you want me to just squeeze the garlic in there?
So you can just squeeze it in there. You know, I love a garlic press, and I always add extra garlic powder to it, even if it calls for fresh garlic. And we're doing great work over here. So we're just gonna go ahead and stir that up. And as you can see, it looks great, it smells great.
It does smell good.
I think we are taking a
Love
trip
that
to the
aroma.
Mediterranean right
We
now.
are. We're on a little journey right now.
We're on a journey.
Before the snow comes down again.
Before the snow comes down. And you know what's great? This dip is so easy to make, and your guests will be so impressed. If you're hosting, like, you know, you probably have a lot of people coming in, especially for us here. We love visitors because of the snow and all the fun things that are happening. But also for, you know, if you're entertaining for a football game or just really anything, this is a great and easy dip to throw together. So the smells good. Oh, the smell of fresh garlic every day.
We're gonna do more.
We're just gonna do a little bit more. Now this guy is a little bit tricky. It gives you like the whole garlic, but not quite. But I love it because it kind of releases the juices and the aroma. Yeah. So this is it. I think you can see the consistency because of the olive oil and the lemon juice. It makes it a little bit less thick of a normal yogurt consistency.
Yeah, I like the consistency of it. It's perfect. It's got, you know, it's going to stick if you're dipping a chip. If you're putting it on something else, it's going to be perfect.
It really is. And you can add, if you wanted to, like, make it a little bit more, I guess you could say liquid. You can throw a couple of tablespoons of milk in here. But
Don't do that.
I typically
Don't do that.
You can, but if you need to stretch it, it's a way to do it. But yeah, I think this is it. We're done.
Okay,
It's
go
pretty
ahead.
easy.
You try
I'm
first.
going to take a chip and try it. But the best part is veggies. You can serve it with pita chips, any sort of chip. You can put it on meat. It's delicious. So here we go. I'd throw a little bit of salt in now.
A little more salt? Okay.
And maybe a little bit more lemon juice.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of always to taste.
We can do that.
So, Kevin, I'm going to give it to you, and you decide how much you want. Looks good to me. We're just going to sprinkle that salt in there, and then just stir it on up.
Stirring.
And that is it. It is the simplest, easiest thing to make. So you need a base of cucumber, Greek yogurt, olive oil, lemon juice, dill, and then optional mint if you really want to get fancy. But
Getting fancy with
Yeah,
the mint. Let's
pre-
see. Let's
pretty
see if we
easy there.
want to do any mint.
what do you think?
That's really
That's
good.
great, right? Very easy
Yep.
recipe to make, and it will for sure wow your guests at home. So
And I love the health factor of it.
it is. You know, there is really nothing bad in this.
No.
You've got some protein, you've got some fresh herbs and veggies, and it's just quite delicious.
Perfect. Good job, Kim.
Well, we're excited. This is going to be a great thing to make if you're hosting for the upcoming game that's happening.
Big game.
Or any games that are coming up.
a lot of
or
big games.
You just want to host and be fancy. I think it's a year-round recipe. So let us know if you want it, and we'll share it with you. We'll be right back after this. always an honor and sure has been fun being your host of Wasatch Weekends. Thanks for joining this Sunday morning edition. I'm Kimberly Perot signing off, and I'll see you next time.